watching another edition of Money on Main Street. It's now time for our CEO Sit-Down, where we invite a well-known leader from our community to share their practical advice and information with us. Today we have on board Rob Basso. He's an author and founder of the company Advantage Payroll Services in Freeport. Rob, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so today we want to talk about small business trends on Long Island. Now, our big role is getting that information out so that our viewers, our small business owners, can have a leg up on the competition. What are we seeing this year in terms of trends compared to last year?
Well, here's the good news. Things are going in a more positive direction. We've added roughly 23,000 jobs since the beginning of the year, which is absolutely fantastic for the region. The challenge is some of these jobs aren't the highest paying jobs. The hospitality industry seems to be growing by leaps and bounds. Unfortunately, for those people that are looking for higher wage jobs, they're a lot more difficult to be found. Manufacturing has slipped dramatically, and it doesn't seem to be coming back. We've got big companies like Grumman, which have basically abandoned the island. So I see some positive things, but the challenge is some of these things are also seasonal. So if you're working in the hospitality industry, some of these jobs will disappear when it comes to the fall. The reality is we need good paying STEM type jobs, which is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Those jobs are way behind the curve.
Okay, so let's say you're looking for a job. How can you find those higher paying jobs? And where are they if you know about certain regions that are doing better than others?
Well, you really have to be incredibly well qualified. And what I find when it comes to shopping for the right job to fit your needs, you have to do all your social networking. You have to be out there in the marketplace asking everyone and everywhere about the opportunities. It's not necessarily about what specific entity is looking for that particular, job to fill. The reality is it's about your specific skills and qualities, but you've got to get them out to the marketplace. You got to be visible in the marketplace so people come to you.
How do you do that?
You do that by attending all the events that you possibly can that are relevant to the industries you want to be involved in. You have to have a great LinkedIn profile. I know it's been talked about. It's the #1 mistake for small business owners, not having a LinkedIn profile or people looking for a job. The reality is it's a simple way to put yourself out there in the marketplace, and it doesn't cost you anything.
Now, let's take it from the perspective of the small business owner. What are we seeing in terms of trends for him or her?
Well, the good thing is we did a recent survey. Advantage Payroll Services surveyed its clients, and roughly 30% are adding employees this year to their payrolls. So that's a pretty good statistic. Okay, 30%. Well, there's 70% there's some of them are adding or they're staying flat. So that's not necessarily good, but at least there's forward progress. The reality is there's still pressures in the marketplace. There's price pressures in the marketplace. There's the reality of the lack of disposable income with some individuals. There are some positive signs. For example, there was almost 90,000 brand new vehicles registered so far this year. That's 9.5% more than last year. So that means people are feeling more confident to go out and make these expensive purchases. And business owners are going to feel the positive effects from that.
Now, we know that perception is everything, especially when it comes to spending. Yeah. And of course, the prices and perceived value. Yeah. You're talking about purchasing cars. Mm-hmm. How much of that is Sandy related?
So I would assume some of it is. I don't have any specific statistics how much is Sandy related, but tens of thousands of cars were lost because of Sandy. I remember seeing pictures of them parked out at an old abandoned airfield where there was probably 5,000 of them parked out there. So a good part of that is because of that, but I think more importantly, people are really feeling a little bit better about what's going on in the economy. We still have a long way to go, but Long Island is making a good comeback.
Now, we're talking about Sandy-related developments. Yeah. What can you tell us about those?
Well, anecdotally, #1, I've recently been down to Long Beach, and that was one of the hardest hits community. They just recently opened up a piece of their boardwalk. I've got clients all up and down the waterfront there. Most of them have reopened. My office is in Freeport, which was severely damaged by the waterfront area and had probably 30 restaurants. Almost every one of them is up and back and running. So those are the good points. The bad side of the Sandy-related matters are there are still individuals in their homes that weren't taken care of properly. Unfortunately, they're selling their homes for a fraction of what they were or attempting to sell it. The good thing is overall in Nassau and Suffolk County, the average median home price is up compared to last year. So things are moving in a positive direction. I wish I could have, this silver magic bullet to say it's all going to be perfect, but the reality is we're still struggling a little bit.
Are we where we need to be or should be?
I think that for the most part, we're faring better than the state at large. For example, if we added these 23,000 jobs, that's a little bit better than New York State average. That's roughly 2.1% better than the previous year, but New York State's only averaging about 1.5% better than last year. So we're doing better than the state, but nationally we're doing fractionally worse. It seems to be Long Island is always up or ahead of the curve or behind the curve.
And final 3 tips on what the best kept secret is as far as what you can do if you're a small business owner to stay competitive and stay in the game.
Well, I'm going to give you one big one. The biggest one is to differentiate yourself in the marketplace. Being different, looking different, and acting different, it makes all the difference in the world if you want to be successful, especially in such a competitive marketplace as the Long Island marketplace.
Sounds great. Thank you so much for your tips.